Hey everybody, it is John the Comic Guy, and today I want to continue our theme of Halloween-based comic books, horror-based comic books. So this is sort of inspired from the episode that I interviewed Ryan Soupy on, when we were talking about some of our favorite horror-based comic books. And one of the comics that I was showing was Yellowjacket Comics #7, which is a Golden Age book published by Charlton. And the cool thing about that is, obviously, I love superheroes, and Yellowjacket, that character, the Golden Age Yellowjacket, was Vince Harley. But in that title, they also printed some Edgar Allan Poe inspired adaptations, and because of that, they were widely recognized. This Yellowjacket comic series was widely recognized as the first horror series in comic books. Now, as I tell you that, the reason I bought them was because of the Yellowjacket character, not because of the horror aspect, but what a great surprise. So today, let's just celebrate with Yellowjacket, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an interesting fact towards the end that I find very fascinating. So first is, let's look at the first, in theory, what they're saying, what people submit to me, and it seems to be widely recognized as the first horror comic book ever. Yellowjacket #1. The reason, and by the way, I'm going to stop here and I'm going to give a shout out to the Same Old Joe. So the Same Old Joe, when I posted that video with Ryan Soupy and I, he mentioned that this Yellowjacket #1 was the first horror series because it had Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart in this. That actually is incorrect, which is, and I'm not posting this to correct him, because I appreciate him inspiring me. The fact is, I checked the label, and in the book, it's actually the Black Cat adaptation. But the fact of the matter is, this is kind of recognized as the first horror book ever published. I love it. Yellowjacket #1. If you haven't seen Yellowjacket, it's cool. But for this, let's just celebrate the fact that this is the first horror comic book published ever. Yellowjacket Comics #1 from Charlton. And this was published in 1944. Pretty good condition. While I'm going through these, I think it's also relevant to know that if you look at the pricing of these, people are like, oh my goodness, these aren't cheap. These aren't cheap anymore. Well, the fact remains is, when I bought them, they were pretty cheap. I bought them when the comic industry was really going bust in the mid to late 90s, right? Everybody was kind of thinking comic books were dead, right? So what I was doing is I was going out and just buying the comic books that I enjoyed before the industry totally died and people would stop selling. So I would be prowling on eBay trying to just snag the books that I always wanted. And not only did I get this, but I got a bunch of slab. I got an Iron Man #1. I got, at that point, Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man #1. I ended up getting a bunch of 9.8s for $15 shipped. I just gobbled them up. Every time I saw them on sale, a guy was selling 3 of them for $15 each, and I said, hey, can I have all 3 and I'll give you $40 shipped? And he's like, fine. So I was just gobbling and snagging them up because these were titles that I enjoyed. So I mean, I guess that's proof positive that I'm not really following the market with comic books. I'm just enjoying I'm just buying what I enjoy. So this is Yellowjacket #3. So I'm clearly missing Yellowjacket #2. Great cover. But again, Vince Harley, it's a little corny, but he controlled Yellowjackets. And what he would say is, in a fight, he would say, bees to me. And the Yellowjackets would come. But again, this one has the Pit and the Pendulum adaptation for Edgar Allan Poe. Again, this is, while a superhero title, which is most relevant to me, this is also maybe the second horror title ever, or second horror issue. The next, Yellowjacket #4. So again, I'm missing #2. But one day, hopefully I'll get it. If I can afford it. Now these are not cheap. This one is Edgar Allan Poe, Tales of the House of Usher adaptation. Yellowjacket #4. Yellowjacket number 6. I love this cover. I don't see any kind of a horror. I don't see any kind of a horror title in this. So this may not have an adaptation, but I'm just going to roll with Yellowjacket number 6. So that tells me I'm also missing issue number 5. So I'm missing number 2 and 5, and I should have the rest. Issue number 6, great cover. Oh, and here is the legendary cover that I showed off on the Ryan Soupy episode. I love this. Holy smokes. And notice these are all in Comic Skins. And I do my own label, and I kind of try to match it with the cover. By the way, I'm going to stop right here just to kind of give a shout out to our sponsor, comicskin.com. So Mark from Comic Skin is giving everybody 5% off if you want a comic skin off the singles, the 5-packs, and the 10-packs. And all you have to do is at the checkout, in coupon code, put in John the Comic Guy 5. John the Comic Guy 5, and you'll get 5% off these comic skins. But look at these. I'm telling you, at this point, I don't think I'm very inclined to get graded books anymore. There's a lot of controversy, and I think CGC might be, again, from what I'm reading, might be overgrading things. And if their credibility, if everybody's credibility is kind of in question in the market, you know, I'm just going to play it safe. I'm not going to spend the extra money. The way it costs like $30 every time, well, $29 every time you get a book graded, a current book graded that's valued under $1,000. So at that point, why? I might as well just grade. You know, I'll just self-slab my own books with the Comic Skin. So again, comicskin.com, John the Comic Guy 5 in coupon code, and you get 5% off. But check this out, number 7, beautiful copy. I love the skull. Issue number 8. This one, I don't know if they started moving off of the horror genre, but I'm going to continue just showing these books. Issue number 8, Yellowjacket Comics. I love that. Again, this is 1946, right? These are old books. And I'm working my way up because you're going to see the relevance of a cool little fact I think I'm going to share with you. Yellowjacket number 9. You know, if it's not obvious, when you have backgrounds that are red, backgrounds that are yellow, which probably won't be as graphically dynamic with the Yellowjacket comic, right? It'll have a little too much yellow. Purples, they're just certain colors that really pop on a cover. And this is a book that really pulls me in. Years ago, I would say about 25 years ago, maybe even longer, in Tom's River, there was a comic store, Steve's Comic Relief. There is still a Steve's Comic Relief, but he's a new owner. Great guy. My friend Matt from Patriot Comics, that's his favorite store. But the old owner had a copy of this. It was so poor in condition. It had like a cut down the middle, and it was ink. Like a kid just drew it with ink. And I didn't end up snagging that, but that's when I started recognizing Yellowjacket. I kind of like that. And I thought it was also fascinating that with Marvel's Yellowjacket, this precedes it. Great character. Vince Harley, Yellowjacket. This is number 9. This is the final Yellowjacket issue. Yellowjacket number 10. Yellowjacket number 10 from 1946. I love it. Now I'm going to share an interesting fact. So again, this is the last issue of Yellowjacket Charlton published, okay? What they did is they flipped it then over to a title called Jack in the Box. So I'm gonna post this video. So have you guys ever seen Reggie Collect videos? I always really enjoyed his videos. Unfortunately, Reggie Collect, about a year ago or 6 months ago, he stopped doing YouTube videos. I always thought he was great because he was positive. He always kind of shared fun information, and he sort of inspired me. Him and Matt from Patriot Comics sort of inspired me to do this. And he had a subject matter expert. And I'm going to post the video on there. It was really basically about publisher brand emblems being notated by CGC. So the brand emblems, I'm saying, is if it had like Marvel comic or Marvel Comics or DC, right? It's the brand emblems. So apparently somebody at CGC or the industry is saying that's relevant, that's important, and when they start showing off that brand emblem, what version of it, that's not something I really ever cared about. I've noticed it, but I never really cared about it. But they have a subject matter expert. His name is Matt Bruback. So Matt was a guest on Reggie Collects, or Reggie's video. And I'm going to look in the description because I'm going to post the link for that video. But if you see that video, 23 minutes and 54 seconds in that video, he mentions this comic. Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box Comics. You notice it's number 11. The reason he said this is relevant is because this is a very rare book. He said, again, look at 23 minutes and 54 seconds in that video. Jack Bruback, the subject matter expert in this, was saying that this is such a rare book. I think he had a 3.0 or something like that. It was actually graded by CGC. But he said only 2 copies were in existence. I was kind of blown away. Only 2 known copies are in existence, and he owned one of them. I know that happens to not be true because I got 2 of them. So again, we know we have at least 2. I think I've seen a couple on posted on eBay. Whenever I see them, now that I see they're so rare, I'll snag them. However, the relevant point is, even though Yellowjacket 10 was the final Yellowjacket comic issue, Jack in the Box number 11, which kind of took off after 10, they changed it to Jack in the Box. And it was weird because they do have a Jack in the Box 1. So maybe they canceled it and then they continued this series with 11 right off of Yellowjacket Comics number 10. But this issue has the last known Vince Harley Golden Age Yellowjacket story. So I happen to have 2. So I found it just interesting that Matt Bruback was mentioning that there are 2 in known existence, and it's like, oh, I love it. And through Reggie, before Reggie quit his channel, I reached out to him and said, hey, let Matt know, and maybe I could communicate with Matt to let him know I have 2 copies of this, and Jack in the Box number 11, clearly it may not only have 2 known copies, it may have more, may have a dozen, but I got 2 of them, and I love this because it has the last Yellowjacket story in there. So anyway, that is today's celebration of comic books, and the first horror title in comics, which is Yellowjacket Comics by Charlton. And I want to thank you so much for joining me. If you like this kind of content, if you think this is cool, check out that Reggie Collect. Check out the subject matter expert, and I just find it fun. But if you like this content, I hope you subscribe. And if you could tell a friend about me, let them know that I talk about both comic books and records. And I want to thank you so much. By the way, as just a friendly reminder, if you are interested in coming to GarageCon 4 on Black Friday, November 29th, 2024, please make sure you RSVP to me. Once you reach out to me, whether it's via Instagram, whether it's via YouTube, text, call, once I get your RSVP, I'll make sure you have my address. And this is a private residence, so please note, you're getting private residence information. And the reason I tell you that is my house is on the corner. When you get my address, and you get here, it's on the corner. Park on the street as soon as you can, whether you park on the main road or you park on the side road. What I'm asking you not to do is don't turn around in my neighbor's driveway, right? That makes them crazy. So please just park on the street. Don't turn around. If you end up passing my house and passing it, just keep on going and then turn around. You'll find streets to kind of make a bunch of lefts, and then you'll be able to park on the street. But that's what you do. Park on the street. Don't try to turn around and say, "Oop, I missed the house," and turn around in a neighbor's driveway. That's just not good, and that's going to make them crazy, and I have to stop doing this. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you love the content. I really appreciate you, and I will talk to you soon.